Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Vicky's Daily Stand-Up. I promised you guys that starting every month I'll try to do these coaching with Vicky. Basically is going to be collecting all these questions that I get asked the most from either YouTube or on Instagram, and I'll try to expand the topic or the question a little bit more. This would be a great time for me to just kind of like chilling with me, have a cup of tea with me. Actually, let me get a cup of tea. Okay, so what should I learn after JavaScript? This is a really common question, and I feel like a lot of people kind of get stuck after they learn HTML, CSS, and a little bit about JavaScript. Oh, what do I do next? Like, what kind of platform should I be learning? Like React, Vue, Angular, what do I do? I guess the first thing you need to be self-aware and knowing that how much you feel good about JavaScript. I think that would be a great opportunity for you to actually start building your first static website, and once you get over that, then start building some smaller projects with vanilla JavaScript. It's important to be really good with vanilla JavaScript and being able to actually build some really solid project with vanilla JavaScript. You need to be familiar with creating forms, deleting forms, creating a form, getting users information, getting users input, create a to-do list. I know that a lot of people might be feeling like a little bit dull, like, oh, I want to build the next Facebook or Instagram. Yes, you can do that. You can definitely build like fancy applications. That's great. In terms of actually practicing JavaScript and being able to actually be better at JavaScript is to actually build like very small applications with JavaScript, building the algorithm with JavaScript, and that's going to be helping you in the future when you are actually building a way more scale up application. The next question, how much JavaScript should you know to get your first developer job? I hate to say this, but it's really depending on what kind of developer jobs that you are looking for. So if you are just looking for a web developer job, probably mostly just focusing on front ends. So if that's the case, that means you probably would need to know JavaScript good enough to write and build web applications as your personal projects in JavaScript with React or with Vue or with Angular. And that's as much as you should know. I know that a lot of the backend developers, they're not required to be super good with JavaScript, but they do know in other backend languages that is their main focus. You don't need to know really good with JavaScript, but you definitely need to know enough how to manipulating the DOM, or like even using JavaScript to solve a little bit of algorithm problem. It really depends on the scenarios and it really depends on the job. But I would say if you're looking for a front-end position, which means you'll probably be writing a lot of heavy JavaScript code, you want to make sure that you are really good with vanilla JavaScript, and you want to be able to have a project somehow show them, maybe even writing some JavaScript code on frameworks. This is another pretty common question, is what tips on being successful in your first developer job? Just land in mind, and I want to make sure to thrive in it. First of all, congratulations that you landed your first developer job. It's not easy. Definitely takes a lot of practice on algorithms and a lot of hard work, a lot of sending resume everywhere. I remember those times. So definitely congratulations. I think that the first and the most important tips that I would give everyone who started their job on the first week or even the first month is to get familiar with the code base that you work on every day. And the reason for that is because you are hired as a developer, so your main job, obviously you have other responsibilities, but your main responsibility is to read code. Understanding how to read code and how to get a better understanding of the code base. I think I actually make a video about how to get familiar with the code base. It's, I think, somewhere here. I'm gonna link it somewhere here, so you can check out that video. But basically, you wanted to spin up the environment, your dev environment, as soon as possible. Probably like the first day or two, you wanted to make sure that you download all the tools that you need. You make sure that you can see the projects spinning up on your end. Second thing, understand and get to know your team. So you might know one or two team members from, you know, the first or second round of interviews, but I think it's important to really get to know better about your team. So what I do is I set up one-on-ones with people in my team or people that I'm going to work with for 30 minutes to just get to know them a little bit better. Where did you work before that? What's your background, and how did you get into engineering? Think about, like, in the future you probably would have problems, right? When you establish that kind of relationship with someone earlier, it's easier later down the road to talk to that person. Do you have any tips for websites or applications that you use to practice algorithms? LeetCode.com, HackerRank, Core, Algo Expert. I think that it's really important to not to just learn about data structures and algorithm, but also actually practice and go through that suffering stage. Such a torture, it kills your brain cells, and basically it's a really terrible process, but it's a necessary process for you to go through so you can be actually really good with the algorithm, and helps you to practice basically your problem solving muscles. And one of the examples that I always bring up is, say that you are someone who love music and you want to perform a song. Practicing the song is going to help you, but also practicing other songs are also gonna help you to basically level up your guitar skills or your piano skills. So that's the same idea with algorithm. Like, the more that you practice and the more songs or, you know, like algorithm questions that you practice, the more that you are going to be familiar with those problems, and your brain is just gonna be better at problem solving in general. And I'm definitely getting thirsty. How do you stay productive and up to speed while working from home? New grad here. Yes, without a routine, it can be challenging, and especially you are on your own schedule. I use a few things to help me to stay productive. When I wake up in the morning, I usually write down the most important thing that I have to accomplish today to make me feel like I've been productive. And by saying that, I don't mean that you just write a lot of, you know, to-do list of things that you need to do, like laundries and grocery shopping, but more of the things that you know, that one thing that you have to do in order for you to achieve your monthly goal, or to achieve your yearly goal, your quarterly goal. So that one thing for that week, or the one thing that for that day, is going to be the most important thing that day. So you want to make sure that you write that thing down. So having that set in your mind really helps. Another thing is to time block, and I use this Pomodoro technique. You're basically only going to be focusing that thing until you get to your break. So it's usually like every 25 minutes you get like a 5 minutes of break, and then you do another 25 minutes and then you get another 5 minutes break. And that really helps me to like really focus on what I need to be finished that day. I have a Pomodoro timer on the video, so you can just play the video and focus with me together. So that might help you a little bit. I don't know, maybe not, maybe you found it really creepy and you don't want that, but I sometimes find that really helpful when I'm trying to focus and I'm watching some other people are focusing on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, look at them, they're like focusing so hard, so I need to also focus on mine. If you enjoy these types of videos, definitely give me a thumbs up and let me know if you enjoy these videos. This is going to be happening once a month, and I like to call it Coaching with Vicky. So basically it's more of a chill, you know, like sit and have tea with me environment where I just go through some of the most asked questions from you guys, and I would try to answer them and expand a little bit longer topics on every single question. Definitely check out some other videos that I have, and that is it. Cheers!